It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Trosian, and this is RamView, the February 6, 2026 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Have you been injured in an auto accident? Do you need some help? Have you got some questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. KistlerLawFirm.com. Click on that QR code, Kistler Law. They've been fighting for you since '92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, new friend of the show, sports ball games. Get the fun you deserve. Make the Super Bowl more fun, more social, and wager free. Join sports ball today. Make sure you click on the link to make me look good to the sponsors, right? We are doing a Super Bowl squares, and we need you guys to take them. I got to prove to my sponsor that you guys are with me. So I'd appreciate the help. Hook a brother up. We would be very, very grateful. Okay, a lot of stuff happening with the Rams just overnight and everything. Yeah, you got the Stafford news. You got Hall of Fame news. You've got Australia news, and now you got Cliff Kingsbury news. Cliff Kingsbury, former HC with the Arizona Cardinals, the guy from Texas Tech, the guy that was the OC for Jaden Daniels. He became free agent, so to speak. They had a disconnect there in Washington, and he moved on. And I think it's a really interesting hire. Now, I'm going to admit, I'm a bad person because I wanted Nate Shalehouse. I wanted him to get the job because then I want him to become a head coach next year, and he might become a head coach next year. And then the Rams get 2 third-round picks. We know how the world works. Let's make it work for us, right? But Kingsbury's interesting because he's not necessarily a protege. He made his bones with mobile quarterbacks. Think of Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes. I don't know if you had Pat Mahomes at Texas Tech, but you know what I'm saying. And then Jaden Daniels in Washington. And now he's coming to the Rams with Matthew Stafford. It's really interesting. But I'll tell you what I like about it. I like that it's an experienced voice that McVay will respect, especially when McVay starts tilting into the madness of pass, because I got Matthew Stafford. I think you appreciate it too, right? Mikey Gutierrez, there you go. It does look like a Super Bowl offensive staff there. No, it is exciting. And what I loved about, well, there's a couple things, right? Again, just another sign of McVay's comfort level with himself, right? He comes in 2017 and he brings in Wade Phillips, right? Wade Phillips has all kinds of NFL experience, the older guy, the steady hand, so to speak. And so he brings in these guys. Cliff Kingsbury is not anywhere near accomplished as Sean McVay, but he is a guy who's not young. He's not the young kid in the room. He's a guy that's been around the block a few times. And so it's really neat to see that he would bring a guy like that. And I think it is. I think Mike LaFleur, to some extent, had a voice a little bit with McVay. Not a big one, obviously, but maybe Kingsbury does. And yeah, I'm there for it. I think it's a really, really good thing. Pressing on. Let's see here. I'll go with you guys. Let's see what you guys have to say. Pressing on. We will get to MVP and all that kind of stuff. Tim Burns going 30-20 Seattle. Man, dude, I'm looking for all sorts of ways to get New England this win because you guys got to know, I've always been a New England fan, right? I've always been a supporter of the New England Patriots, right? There you go. But I've been trying to give New England some more points, and I can't find them. Right now, I'm stuck at 23-21 Seattle. All right. Let's see. USA Expat coaches. No, number one, equal, do not lose Pleasant. I'm interested about Aubrey Pleasant, right? What does Pleasant want to do? Because, again, he's kind of sticking around. He's a defensive guy. We thought Shula was going to go. I think we were kind of hoping for Shula to go. And he has asked permission, right, to interview LaFleur has asked permission to interview him in Arizona. Mike Gutierrez, no news has said that Cliff will be the OC, just that he's joining the coaching staff. I'd be hard pressed to see him coming as anything else, but we'll see. We'll see. There you go. There you go. $5 Steve Kingsbury had Mahomes. Okay, good. He is an air raid guy, so pass game should improve with some new ideas. I like the new ideas. $5 Steve, rooting for New England, but I see Seattle 24-10. Yeah, I see Seattle scoring that many. I'm hard pressed to see New England score more, unless Sam Darnold shows up, right? I don't know who this guy is, but I'm waiting for Sam Darnold to show up. USA Expat, how will the Pats cheat this time? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to cheat. But I hope they do, because I want Seattle so upset with the Patriots for cheating. They're not thinking about the Rams. Huh? How's that? That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good thought. There we go. Okay, Matthew Stafford. Okay, let's get it over with. How cool was it with his daughters there and all the cool stuff they said to him? That guy, I'm surprised he didn't bust out with some Lou Gehrig. I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth. That was really cool. MVP, whatever. I don't really care about the MVP. I'm happy that he got it. I think it's stupid to say that May was ripped off, or it was stupid to say someone voted for Herbert or someone voted for Josh Allen. Hey, you got to vote, man. You got to vote. You use your vote the way you want to, right? And again, May didn't play the schedule Stafford played. Sorry, he didn't do it, okay? So, yeah, and again, it doesn't make any difference to me. The better thing here is Matthew Stafford is back, right? Usually we are waiting until first week of March before that hash gets settled the last couple years. Are they going to relook at his contract? Because if that dude decides to play for 40 rocks that's on his contract right now, build a statue to him now, right? Build a statue to him now, because he makes life a whole lot easier for the 2026 and 2027 Rams. But I'm sure they'll do something. Maybe they'll do something. Maybe they won't do something. He's well over 350 rocks in his career. I think he was over 360 when this season started. So by the time this year is over, this coming year, if this contract is fulfilled, he's going to be at 400. I don't know if money matters anymore. So, yeah, he's back. And so that's really cool, right? That is really cool. I thought it was interesting how everyone is all good with Ryan Clark when he gives his opinion of Stafford being a top 10 quarterback of all time. I know everyone hates Ryan Clark, and Ryan Clark's put himself in some bad spots, but it is kind of funny that, Ryan Clark, that's a cool thought. Yeah, Stafford is the best. There we go. Let's see here. Gilbert Gonzalez. Great news. Last night, Matthew is back for another season. Rams are going forward to push in all the chips. I love that, right? I love that. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, I thought after Stafford said he was coming back, I thought you would go live. I didn't, and I'll tell you why I didn't, because I hate the award shows. I can't stand the award shows. I can't stomach them for the media, for the entertainment elites, for the sports guys. I just don't watch them. I just don't, right? What's not to love about seeing the NFL promote a family man? There you go. Good call. Good call. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. Any truth to Kurt Warner being offered a front job? I haven't heard that at all. And stuff. So give the man a bonus, pay the man his money. Well, he is under contract. Brian Smith, USA expat. I hope so. Is that about the cheating? Will Goodell play the real national anthem this year? There you go. Yeah, I don't know. You never know. Goodell's just doubling down on that guy. And again, the halftime show, I never watched the halftime show. I was put in a bad position this year. My friends from Mid-Valley Sports, they invite me to Vegas. They used to invite me every year, and I'd say no, to go watch the Super Bowl with them at the South Point private party or whatever it is. And it is cool. I'm not saying it's bad, but I was looking for excuses to bail. If the Rams made it to the Super Bowl, there was no way I was going to watch that Ram game. There was no way I was going to watch that Ram game with a group of riffraff and people that I don't trust are Ram fans. Sorry. So if I win, I was going to stay up in the hotel room. I was actually thinking about that. But I will tell you this. I was there last year, right, for the Eagles-Chiefs rematch. And I'll tell you, with all the stuff the NFL tries to do, you got a room in Vegas. There was about a couple hundred, 300-400 people in this room. And every economic class, every racial demographic represented, everything's there. They played what's called the Black National Anthem. Not a living soul paid attention. Nobody cared, right? Nobody cared. When they played the national anthem, everybody shut up. And then they and again, I'm not doing a political thing here, but I'm just saying the reality of it. They put the camera on Trump when they were doing the national anthem, and the place, every demographic, everything in there exploded, right? Everyone started cheering, right? Now, that might have just been an anti-Biden response. I don't know. But I can tell you that in the end, Bad Bunny, whatever, no one cares. They just don't care. They want you to be respectful of the anthem, and they want you to play football, right? That's the sense I got. It was a good experience for me to be around a big crowd of not just my friends. And so that was impressive that people just want their football. And they don't really want all this other crap in there. Respect the country and do that. That's why the Bad Bunny thing's getting bad mojo, but no one's going to care because they're not going to watch it, right? And I don't know. I don't even know where you sign in to watch the other version with TP USA. I don't know, but that is just one of the things I did notice regarding the Super Bowl. So, yeah, Goodell could do whatever he wants, but it's not moving the needle. No one really cares, right, what he tries to do. Sad day with the passing of Sonny Jurgensen, one of my all-time favorites. I only saw Sonny at the end there, Steve, but I was at his last game. I saw his last game, his last pass, and his last pick. 74 playoffs against the Rams. Very special moment in my life. Mikey Gutierrez. Joe, what do you think about Australia? I'll get to that. Michael Negretti. There's only one national anthem. That's the Star Spangled Banner. Nothing matters. Boom. ESG. I've never been a fan of the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. You know what it was for us? It's time to go outside and throw the football around, right? USA expat, Rams playing the Ninnies in Australia this season. Okay, there you go. Now I'll get to that there with you, Steve. I'm so against this. What the NFL has essentially done is they've taken a division opponent, the 49ers, and they've matched the Rams up against a divisional opponent, taken away their home game, and making them travel literally to the other side of the world, to Australia. Why? Because Goodell and the Players Union, nobody cares about these players. All they care about is the brand. Actually, I think it's more hideous to make these players fly overseas during the season than it is to have Bad Bunny sing. You know? And again, note to NFL players, your Players Union doesn't care about you because you got to sign off on this. I think this is just ridiculous. And here was the other thing. They're not 100% sure it will be the first, at least it hasn't come out yet, that it will be the opening game of the 2026 season, because usually they put the Super Bowl people in there. Remote as it seems, it could be dropped in somewhere else. And, you know, maybe, I don't know, they'll drop it in somewhere, maybe that first week, I guess. But any team coming back from this should have 10 days, right? And I just think this is preposterous. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Players, grow a sack, man. Do something about it. Say you won't play. We're not playing in these games because it has an effect on your season. It's a huge deal. You got to do something about these things, man. And if it happens, it happens, and it affects you guys. I think it's a really a terrible, terrible idea. I'm very anti that. Let's see here. I was there too, Joe. Okay, there you go. 74 playoffs. There you go. Trump should get booed this year. I don't care. I don't care. If they want to boo him, they can boo him. People can boo him, whatever. Okay? That's not the issue as much as what the NFL tries to create, right? What the NFL tries to create. And yeah, I don't care, right? Let's see. Michael Negretti. Pastor Joe, what's your Super Bowl food? Mine is pizza. Mine is anything, but I'm a fourth quarter binger. And what I mean by that is that I got a friend that shows up to the Ram Cave and he brings these mini cupcakes that I won't touch for 3 quarters, but because the Rams are very heart attack promoting franchise, I find on the final drive, I'm standing up, popping these mini cupcakes into my mouth, no matter what, right? So no, I like anything, over there at South Point, they have a pretty good spread and everything. So there you go. I don't have just one. Tacos. Okay. Tacos. I'm down with the tacos. ESG, enough with the overseas NFL games. Football is an American sport. Trump trying to shove it down the throats of the rest of the world. What my thing is that no, I agree, right? Someone came to me because I'm very anti-communist kickball, soccer, and they tell me, what about the World Cup? And I said, I root for Argentina. I'm married to an Argentine woman. I root for Messi in Argentina. The worst thing that could ever happen to this country is for the Americans to win the World Cup. And people say, well, soccer is the most popular sport in the world. It's the most popular sport in the world because it doesn't have professional football like we have it, right? And I would make them salivate coming after this, I wouldn't bring it to them. But when there's money to be made, right? Last 2 years, the Brazil game was the first Friday, so let's hope it's that. Whatever, yeah, I just hope it's early, clean, but it's a bummer. We're losing a home game to a division opponent, right? If we beat the Niners and make 1 million fans across the Pacific, I have no complaints. But are they going to send us a Jordan Mailata, right? The left tackle from the Eagles. Are they going to send us that? I don't care. I don't care. I understand what you're saying, Micah, but I just don't care. Brian Smith, it was nice seeing the steam coming out of your okay. It was good seeing the steam come out of you. Yeah, I can get hot once in a while. Not all the time, but once in a while. All right. Here's something that I had here. I don't even think I made did I make a slot? I don't even think I made a slot for it. Bummersky. Let me do this real quick here. I came up with 5 things I want the Rams to do. And now we've got kind of an idea about it with Stafford officially coming back. I'm shooting this right off my screen here. So let me load this dude up. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. All right. Let me load that dude up. This is what I want the Rams to do. All right. I want the Rams to draft a receiver at number 13. If Jimmy G walks as a free agent because he doesn't want to be a caddy for another year, then I want Stetson Bennett to be the backup quarterback with the condition that you use a 5th-round pick to draft maybe a Drew Aller. There you go. Sign a cornerback as a free agent, draft a cornerback in the top 100, and draft a corner on the 3rd day and replenish that room, right? Draft another toilet clogger along the defensive front. I was surprised to see all the heat that Ty Hamilton was getting. I didn't think he played enough snaps to have a really how would you say, a real clear diagnosis of what he looks like as a bust or not. I'm not saying get rid of him, but I would draft another fat body along that line. And then I want to see them make a move for a veteran defender on the defense. These are things I want to see happen. And, Stetson Bennett, a little bit mobile, more mobile than Stafford, might benefit from a Cliff Kingsbury, right? Right? So there you go. Okay, Mikey Gutierrez. Is the 49er game at SoFi really a home game? Very questionable there. Absolutely. $5 Steve. I think it's a plus. It's first the Niners since their fans take over. So, do you realize the indictment? Do you realize the indictment you guys are bringing against Ram fans? I always say Ram fans are the worst, but you guys are bringing the indictment. I think we're all in agreement here, right? Brian Smith, Pastor Joe, why don't you move to Nevada with the rest of the Newsom haters? Nevada's got sports. Nevada's got good food. I don't know. Maybe someday I will. Tribe. It was the first time we had an MVP since 2001 when Kurt won it. Did he win it in 2000? I thought he won it in 99. My bad. I was thinking Marshall Faulk won it in 2001. But good for Stafford. I'm really happy for him. Brian Smith. Can we afford Crosby? San Francisco and Seattle will go after him too. But I imagine, someone's going to give a whole bunch. But I'd be curious to know what Crosby wants to do. Doesn't he want to come play for a winner? And his contract's an issue. I know Colin Cowherd brought it up that he can get 2 number ones like Micah Parsons did. But the issue is his contract, right? You're going to take on that contract. You got to have some compensation there. Actual David, I'm not happy with the red-headed tight end. The red-headed tight end. You talking about Ferguson? I'm not sure. Good to have you, David. I agree with you on 4.5. I think Crosby will be too expensive, but a vet on the edge is a good call. I just want a meat eater, right? I just want somebody really angry on defense, right? Somebody that makes the rest of the defense accountable, right? Somebody with hair on his chest. Somebody that's Charles Haley-esque, right? Somebody that's Fred Dean-esque. Somebody that just comes in and says, whoa, that's the dude, right? Mike Gutierrez, Lemon at 13 would be an instant fan favorite. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a second. $5 Steve, what about drafting a more physical center? Acquiring a more physical center. I don't know if you're going to find one in the draft this year to replace Coleman Shelton. I just don't think so. Maybe you could develop one, but I don't think you're going to draft one. Mike Gutierrez on the bright side for LA 49er fans. They play the Chargers at SoFi this year. Okay. Gilbert Gonzalez, what happened with trading for Will Levis for us? I'm all down for that. That was my idea. I don't know if Stan and Les and Sean are going to listen to me. Brian Smith, San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams are all winners, though. Someone brought up a point last show, interesting, for how long the Seattle run's going to last if they sell the team, right? ESG, New England, another great team that Max Crosby might be traded to. But does he really want to go out there in the cold? Good point. But New England could use him. McDuffie would be a fun pickup. Is KC going to move off of him? Michael Negretti. I think the NFL should make a rule that if your team keeps getting plucked by other teams for their head coaches, you should be reported with some draft picks. Yeah, at least give you a 5th rounder for a white guy, right? There you go. Brian Smith, Crosby has a full tattoo body. Cold doesn't scare him. No, I imagine it doesn't. I wouldn't question anything about Max Crosby. Not in the least. I only think I'd question of him going someplace else that's not the Rams. Okay, here we go. No graphic for this. Excuse me. Brian Smith, Seattle losing Kubiak and a bunch of coaches after Sunday. Kubiak going to the Raiders, right? That's a good move for the Raiders. Really anxious to see how that plays out since they're in the AFC. Not a Charger fan here. Okay. One of you guys suggested go to Draft Tech. I don't know if that was Manny Correa or not, but I went there. It's a great site. They had their mock draft up. That was end of January mock draft, and had Mekhi Lemon at 13 going to the Rams. Clemson cornerback Avian Terrell going to the Rams at 29. And at that point, they had that Monroe Freeling, the Georgia right tackle, going to the Rams at number 61. But here was some interesting stuff, and I'm curious what you guys know about Mekhi Lemon. And so, yeah, I'll get to that, Brian. I already did, but I'll get back to that. But the interesting thing about Mekhi Lemon, they talked about great hands, great contested guy for 5'11", all that kind of stuff. But it was really interesting. One of the weaknesses I read about him was that they say he might just be strictly a slot receiver. And that's okay for right now, but in the eventuality Adams moves on, Puka, starts to go downhill a little bit. Is that enough, right? Lemon's a blocker. Lemon's everything you'd want. But I really heard this breakdown talking about is that he might struggle getting off the line of scrimmage and press, and then he's a lot better. He's a pure slot guy, which I got no problem with, but I'm curious if you guys have run anything like that. And then the other one I'm going to throw at you, Casey Concepcion, I saw his video, right? And I read his negatives. Has some drop issues, and he's not a great blocker right now, but kaboom, everything else, contested catch. He's about 5'11". He might not be your number one after Puka, but would be a nightmare if he lined up in the slot with Adams and Nakua next year. Also, he's a big-time punt returner. And then this thought kind of came to me. Right now, Casey Concepcion is listed as the 5th receiver, and he's projected early in the second round, like in the 30s. Depending on where he moves up, and we're going to see move-ups and fallbacks and all that kind of stuff, is it possible the Rams could trade back a few slots, pick up more day 2 capital in the draft, and then maybe grab Concepcion at 20 or 29 and still use that 29th pick for something else? I do not know about his character, but I thought that was a pretty interesting thought that came. I'd love to hear. I thought that was a pretty interesting thought. Anyway, let me keep going here. Brian Smith. I did talk about Kingsbury. I like the hiring. I like it because it's an adult. It's a peer speaking into Sean McVay. And I think it's a good idea. I think it shows McVay is very secure dude. And I just like just the tweak, right, that he brings, right? Michael Negretti, draft tech was my idea. Thank you, Michael Negretti. Bill, I'd rather get a good cornerback than Crosby. We have 3 good edge rushers already. We do. But we don't have that animal. And there are times that Jared Verse is kind of a nice guy. I'm not seeing an animal, and I want to see an animal. There you go. That's just me. ESG, true, Brian. I'm just talking myself into coming to the Rams. Brian Smith, thank you, Pastor Joe. You're reasonable for a Trump supporter. Yeah, thank you very much. It's true, and I might applaud. I don't applaud anybody, really, to tell you the truth. I live on this thing where I don't have heroes, but I'm not going to boo them. I'm not going to whatever. It's kind of like going along with the crowd. I don't want to go along with the crowd. That's gross, right? Let's see here. Brian Thomas is said to be on the trading block from Jacksonville. What should the Rams give up to get him? Third rounder. There's a reason they're giving up on him, right? There's a reason. And he was hot stuff a year ago, and now not so much, right? Mike Gutierrez, hearing Crosby talk about Stafford on his podcast is a good sign he'd be a top-tier Ram if we can afford him. Yeah, it really boils down to, can you afford him? That's what it all boils down to. Raiders should be really eager to trade him and just collect a whole bunch of stuff because that would be really good for them going forward. Bill, what is Jeff Saturday's deal with Matthew Stafford? He keeps bringing up Stafford's 1-yard touchdown passes. It's a moot point because take away the 1-yard TD. Stafford has 1-yard TDs. Stafford has more touchdowns. I don't know. Someone has to get you down the field. I don't know what Saturday's thinking. Saturday thought he could be a head coach, right? Came out for a while. Stafford, Saturday thought he could talk neck to Peyton Manning, right? It's like, shut up and block, right? I don't question that he knows football, but there's a limit to these guys, right? They get overexposed sometimes when they talk too much on that national thing. Ryan Clark, same way, they get exposed, right? When you're talking every day, you can get exposed. You got to be careful about your absolute statements that you make. Otherwise, you end up looking like Mina Kimes. Stafford hate is kind of like, Brian Smith brought it up. I'll say it here. You can dislike Trump. You can dislike Trump all you want. Okay, that's fine. But that TDS stuff they talk about is kind of psycho, the Rosie O'Donnell type of stuff. And that's sometimes you hear that about Stafford, is that everyone's always looking for a reason to tear down Stafford. It's like, he never won a playoff game and he never did this. And he just keeps doing all these things. It's like Stafford's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. And I'm so happy he's a Ram. Best Ram quarterback of all time. There, I said it. Okay, Michael Negretti. We have 3 good. Okay, we already did that. Don't have a great edge rusher. Max Crosby is great. There we go. Yeah. I just want that meat eater, right? I just want that guy. I want that guy everyone's afraid of, right? I wish Bobby Wagner was 10 years younger and you just park him there in the center and everyone has to answer to him. You want that guy that Jared Verse, Byron Young, Kobe Durant, Kobe Turner, you want them answering to somebody, right? You want them answering to somebody. All right, guys. Kistler Law, right? We want to thank Kistler Law. I don't get to be here without Kistler Law. Get the compensation you deserve. Also want to say thank you. Kistler Law is also the #1 supporter of Outsider Camps. That's where I go when I'm gone during the summer. You guys know about that. And then, of course, Sports Ball. And I really need your help on this, guys. I need your help. I need you to hook a brother up. I need you to follow that link and go fill out those squares so my sponsors can say, wow, Joe's really got that thing cooking over there, right? It's Super Bowl squares on Sports Ball. I'm inviting you all. Jump in, claim your square. It's totally free. Walk away with a prize after every single quarter. 4 chances to win, courtesy of Sports Ball. They'll get you some prizes. The board locks when kickoff hits, so there's plenty of time. Grab your spot, get your square, watch the game, and sweat those numbers. Talk all the trash you want, and check out Sports Ball. Hit that link that's in the chat box there, and it'll take you right over there. Let's have some fun with Sports Ball because we're going to be engaging with it more and more going forward. I love those people, and I'm looking forward to a long relationship with them. So there we go. All right, what do we got here? You want Aaron Donald back too? Yeah, I want Aaron Donald back, but I don't think Aaron Donald's coming back. I think that's the whole Patino line to the Celtics in the late 90s. Larry Bird's not walking through that door. He's not. Okay, have some fun here. Do you remember? Have you guys ever gone back and looked at? Maybe you have. Maybe you're normal and you don't. But look at old draft notes, right? Like, oh, we got to get that guy, right? That guy. Oh man, that guy. He's really the flavor of the month. Got to draft him. Well, I remember back in 2023. I was already writing the death of Tyler Higbee as far as his pro career, and I was brushing him off. And they were talking about all these other tight ends and stuff. And I think Dalton Kincaid was one. And there was a guy that they came up with as a sleeper. His name was Zach Kuntz from Old Dominion. He was a tight end. Jets took him in the 3rd round, top 100, back in 2023. And I remember people literally on draft podcasts talking about how this guy could be a sleeper. Rams should maybe take a look at this guy, take a flyer on this guy. Now, this is the draft. I think the Rams took Davis Allen in the 5th round. Kuntz went 2023, went in the 3rd round. He's appeared in 2 NFL games. That season in 2023, they cut him at the end of camp, and he's only appeared in 2 games these last 3 years total. And now he's signed with the Dolphins. And it just reminded me, how much we love these names when we see them. And then it's like, oh, dang, right? All right. Okay. Let's slow down a little bit. we do have a tendency to make heroes out of these guys before they've played a down. Let's see here. Manny Vasquez. I saw a post saying the 5 quarterbacks that have thrown for 60,000 yards won a Super Bowl and an MVP. Brady, Manning, Favre, Rodgers, and Stafford. The disrespect is real. Preach. Bill, based on Snead's statement about going after cornerbacks, do you think he's going to go after Crosby? Well, I think odds are it's a long shot. I think Crosby kind of letting it leak he wants out of Vegas. Everyone's going to be coming after that guy. So it's a long shot. The Rams have an advantage. Good organization, winner, all that kind of stuff. But you do have to make personal sacrifices. With that said, though, I liked 2 things there. I like Snead said about in the next weeks and months we're going to be addressing that, which means to me we're at February the 6th. We're about a month and 5 days from the new league season starting, and that means the new free agent period starting, and maybe that means we're going to go after one of these free agent guys. Dean from Tampa Bay or Watson from KC. Maybe. I'd love that. I'd love to get an experienced guy in there. My fear is drafting a guy 13th overall and I got to wait for him to develop. And the truth is you don't have that luxury with Matthew Stafford, right? You need guys that could come in and play right now. I'm not saying maybe draft one at 29 or draft at one in the top 100. That's what I want. And then one in the back of the draft, let them develop a little bit. But let's get a guy that's got experience in here. I think we're going to see a better Emmanuel Forbes. I think this was his rookie year. And we'll build from there. That's what I see. But I also like the fact that Snead is talking about going all in the sense that, you know what, if we got to trade some picks in the future, we're going to surround our guy Stafford for this year with everything he needs, right? Everything he needs. Maybe that's signing Linderbaum from Baltimore. I don't know, but I'm excited to hear him say that. I'm not afraid of trading those draft picks. When everyone said the bill was going to come due for trading all those picks going into 2021, they were all wrong. The only thing that derailed the Rams in 2022 was the chainsaw massacre of the offensive line, right? Everybody went down in an unprecedented outline type of season, right? So I want the Rams to do it all, and I could see them do it all. So that is very encouraging to me. Brian Smith, Saturday can say what he wants about Stafford. Yeah, because he's a Saturday. Stafford plays on Sunday. Boom, put that in your pipe and smoke it. ESG, we have young, but I think we need a little bit more veteran tool. I agree. I mean, by young, I mean age, not the player. I mean age, not the player. Well, my feeling was Young would be the expendable one. That's my feeling. I'm not going to be mad if the Rams re-sign him. I'm not going to be mad if the Rams keep him. I like him. But I think somebody on that defense has to look around and go, oh, my gosh, he got moved out of L.A. because we weren't focused enough on defense. We weren't finishing tackles. We weren't getting sacks when we should be getting sacks. Brian Smith, Crosby definitely has the motor to be a Ram. He works hard. And I also think he's a guy that's going to be pretty judicious, right? I don't know what his flexibility is. I don't know. It's funny. We know this about baseball, the 5 and 10 rule, and we know all those different rules, but does he have any say, right? Does he have any say? Now, what the Rams have done when moving their people on is they've taken less for the good of the program, but for the goodwill with the former player, they got less than they should have with Jalen Ramsey. They got less than they should have for Robert Woods, but there are places where these guys can go and still contribute. Crosby has to be thinking, man, I do not want to go to a dud, right? If I'm him, I don't want to go to Frisco. Frisco is hanging by a thread, right? Frisco's hanging by a thread. Trent Williams, and Christian McCaffrey had great years, but man, you can't count on that being repeated. I don't know if I want to go up to Seattle. I don't know. Is it consistent, right? The Rams are consistent. New England looks dangerous. Now, that might be a place for him. Detroit, they're projecting Detroit taking another guy, but Detroit should be all crazy. Detroit in that blue-collar Detroit, Crosby in that blue-collar Detroit atmosphere would be a perfect fit. So, anyway, there we go. Bill, I love the idea of getting the center from Baltimore. Oh, yeah, I do too. I'm all over that. Paul, hi, Joe, go Rams. I think Kingsbury is a good thing. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. It shows McVay's security with himself. He's not insecure at all. McVay's a guy that he brings him in. And I talked about how Kingsbury's made his bones with quarterbacks that are mobile. Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, I got that confirmed. And then, of course, Jaden Daniels had a heck of a rookie year. I think he was mismanaged by Quinn at the end last year. He should have been benched for the rest of the year. But they parted. Kingsbury's out there. And what does he bring? Because, Stafford's not a mobile guy. I think he's a competent voice that McVay respects. And that maybe, just maybe, as I mentioned earlier, when McVay starts tilting into madness, and what I mean by madness is he's pounding the rock for 75 yards with Kyron and Blake, and then he gets first and goal at the 4, and he throws 3 times, right? Kingsbury might be able to be someone that says, whoa, Sean, you better step off, right? And he might be that guy. Heck, again, I've shared one of my wants is if Jimmy G goes, I'm good with Stetson being the number 2. He's been around for 3 years. The Rams have kept him for a reason. He's familiar with the offense, and I want to see that. And he's a bit more mobile, and that might, having Kingsbury, be able to help him. Just my thoughts on that, and we'll go from there. Let's see. Brian Smith, do we know the length of McVay's new contract? That previous one they signed in 2022 was 5 years. I imagine him and McSnead relationship goes to 2030. I'm taking a guess. Manny Vasquez, do you think McVay is being patient with Shula because of their friendship? Because a lot of DCs would have lost their job after the D performed in the last few games. My feeling is one. Remember how wild everything was, at least when the Rams fired Chase Blackburn? That's just not necessarily a Ram move. I think bottom line, they were kind of hoping, bro, take that head coaching job, but he killed that. So I would think this, if that defense starts to struggle next year, if they've made the improvements, because guys, I've shared with you the philosophy. JSN on the touchdown, I think at the end of the first half, he didn't beat anybody. He was abandoned, right? They lost him. Rashid Shaheed on the first play of the 3rd and 5 at the start of the game. I showed you the highlight. I circled it. Rashid Shaheed was just out there on an island with Darius Williams, and Darius Williams pushed him to the sidelines. He wasn't expecting any help. Who does that? Who puts a 32-year-old Darius Williams out there on Rashid Shaheed? Chris Shula, right? I don't get it. So I think something could happen if it gets that bad again, because I think the Rams are going to put more pieces in there. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Where we at? Bill, do you think McVay is thinking about hiring Kingsbury as a passing game coach rather than an offensive coordinator? I think it's semantics there. The offensive coordinator in most places calls the plays. Sean McVay is going to call the plays. So he's going to be quality control coordinator, passing game coordinator. He's going to be something. I think they're going to keep elevating Shieldhouse, and we'll go from there. But he's going to play a role. He'll be there on the sidelines. Brian Smith, to be fair, Shula is only 2 years into his DC role. Wasn't he the tight end coach before being promoted? I don't know if he was the tight end coach, but he worked his way up, right? And I remember after 2 games in 2024, everyone wanted him fired, right? Everyone wanted him fired. Everyone was talking trash. And we were talking about how Verse and Young and a lot of those young Ram defenders were missing tackles. Then in the back half of the season, they started finishing better. To me, it was just more scheme or philosophy. Something was off there at the end of the year that just didn't make sense, right? Didn't make sense. Benny Vasquez, watching Williams' reaction to Stafford, said he was coming back was awesome. Yeah, you're happy. You're happy when your team likes your teammates like the quarterback, right? That's good news. That's really good news. So I am happy about that. Brian, Bill, do you think, okay, we talked about that one. Has our passing game coach and promote the other guy to OC? I do not know. I do not know that. I'm sure Kingsbury's coming here for a reason, and I don't know what it is, but I'm happy he's in the room. Brian Smith, I want 2/3 for Scalise if he leads next. Oh, Scalise. Okay. Well, you do. I do too. I want to be a head coach and get those 2 third-round picks. Bill, did I hear the Browns fired their defensive coordinator, Schwartz? I would love him. He walked. He actually walked. He resigned. He wanted that job, and they went with Todd Monken. I don't know if he wants to be a DC anymore, right? He wants to be a head coach again. He had a decent run there in Detroit, but we'll see how it plays out for him. He might be in the loop next year. People might be wanting to interview him, and if he doesn't get a job, then he'll probably settle for being a DC. Brian Smith, there's no doubt in my mind they're going all in. We just have to remain healthy next year. And that's why I think you kind of got to go all in, because I don't think you can count on this health. I think you got to count on everybody's health because of the depth of everything. With that said, I hope Jimmy G does come back. Jimmy G keeps you really relevant as a playoff team because he knows the system. McVay likes him, and he's been there before. Stetson's a little more of a crapshoot, but I don't know what you're going to get out there. What are you going to get out there? I think Brissett's got another year there in Arizona. Do you really want a Kirk Cousins coming over here? I don't want Kirk Cousins. Who's out there? Will Levis? Okay, I'm all in Will Levis, but I don't know if he's ready to be the guy. So the guy I trust most of all right now, if Jimmy G walks, is Stetson Bennett. But everything else, you're right. The doubling down, going all in, means building depth, and you could borrow from 2027 to help pay for 2026, right? So there you go. All right, cool. Hall of Fame. Schwartz resigned, supposedly. Yeah, I heard he was going to resign, and he officially did. I thought he had already done it. Okay, Hall of Fame. Drew Brees, Roger Craig, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, and Adam Vinatieri. All right. The guy I was out on, I understand he had a bunch of Pro Bowls and everything, played 8 years, was Kuechly. I never watched a game where I thought, oh, man, Luke Kuechly, right? He's not Urlacher, right? I just never thought of him that way. Everyone else does. So I guess you got to go along with it. Adam Vinatieri, if any kicker is going to be in the Hall of Fame, it has to be Vinatieri for what he did and stuff. So good for him. Larry Fitzgerald, automatic, boom. What was this, his first year of eligibility? I don't know. Larry Fitzgerald, Hall of Famer. Yeah, we don't even have to discuss that. Roger Craig, way too late. Way too late for Roger Craig. Roger Craig should have been in a long time ago. Roger Craig, big games, Super Bowls, set the standard. First got running back to have 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. Put in a good 9. I think he played 10 years, 10 or 11 years. And 8 of those years, he was top-notch all the way through. Roger Craig was a Hall of Famer. He was a 49er, easy to hate, but Roger Craig should have been in a long time ago. The one that really interested me was Drew Brees. Now, I had no doubt Drew Brees was going to get in, but Drew Brees, he had 1 Super Bowl, and no one questioned about him going in. But here was the funny thing. Matthew Stafford has a Super Bowl, and everyone would say, well, is he a first ballot guy or not? And I understand why Drew Brees went in. I got no problem with Drew Brees going in, but I just thought it was kind of funny that it was such an auto, right? Oh, yeah, put him in there, right? Jim Plunkett's got 2 Super Bowls. And if Drew Brees gets in with 1, Eli Manning's going to get in with 2 Super Bowl victories over the New England Patriots, and I'm not too upset about it. Just don't job Matthew Stafford. And honestly, don't job Phillip Rivers down the road. Brian Smith, the Seahawks and 49ers put pressure on our front office this offseason. Good. I'm glad. They should have, right? I mean, nobody should be happy, right? I don't know. I mean, they're more mature than me. I don't think I'd want to be at that stupid NFL honors award, right? I just wouldn't want to be there. I'd be so blank and ticked off. It's because you don't know if those things are going to come around again, right? Manny Vasquez, would you want CJ Stroud if he became available because Houston is not looking out? I'd be really interested in CJ Stroud on a flyer. If everything goes south there in Houston, maybe he needs a different quarterback voice. You bring him into the room, you let Kingsbury and McVay work on him a little bit. You bring him in for a third rounder or something, and you develop because he's got all the tools, right? He's got all the tools, and I'd take a flyer on him, like I would take a flyer on Will Levis for different prices, of course. And then I'd take a flyer on Drew Aller in the 5th round. Bill, why only 5 inductees for the Hall of Fame? Should be at least 7 or 8. I don't know what it was. Roger Craig was the only Veterans Committee guy that was put in, right? He was the only Veterans Committee guy. So, and again, long overdue. I think it was surprising. I guess it's the system or how they have it rigged up. Everyone, you expected Belichick to be in there, right? And whatever that is, why he's not there, because he's a jerk, right? That's the only thing. I mean, these people that are voting now, the younger sports writers, they're all forgiving. They're becoming more and more forgiving of the roid guys in baseball. People move on, right? And you're going to hold Belichick accountable again for all those shenanigans they pulled, right? I'm a Ram fan, and I'm saying that, but I think it's more he was a jerk, right? On to Cincinnati, right? He was a jerk. He was a jerk to his team. He was a jerk to Tom Brady. He was a jerk, right? It's not the end of the world. Man, I remember his last year there, some special teams guy recovered a fumble. Now, foolishly, the kid tried to give the ball to his coach, like say, "Hey, coach, I'm presenting this to you." And Belichick looked at him like he was an idiot. But does Belichick make you want somebody you want to play for? Vrabel is somebody you want to play for. McVay is somebody you want to play for, right? Dan Campbell is somebody you want to play for. And they're not jerks to other people. And I think he's just paying his price. And that's why I think the class is a little bit low. Sorry, I went off on that one a little bit. Let's see here. Willie Bowen, why the NFL always overlooking former Ram players? Lawrence McCutcheon, really good, not a Hall of Famer. I'm a McCutcheon fan, and no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Henry Ellard, in any other generation, would be looked at, but the problem is he had his career at the beginning of the post-78 rule changes, and he did really well. But there's just get in line. We can't even get Torrey Holt into the Hall of Fame, right? Jack and Jim Youngblood. Jim's not going. Jack is already in the Hall of Fame. Hacksaw Reynolds. I think Hacksaw Reynolds is extremely overlooked. 3 Super Bowls with 2 different teams. He is very much overlooked. I think he should be a Veterans Committee guy. Eric Dickerson is in. Jack Snow, just good enough. Harold Jackson should be in. All right. Willie saying hi to Manny. Manny saying hi to Willie. Manuel. Some people think Bill Polian, who ran the Colts back then, that stopped Belichick from going to the Hall of Fame, the cheating caught up to him. That's okay. If that's the reason, that's a good reason. And that very well might be the reason. My opinion would be he was a jerk. I'm not voting for him. I'm going to make him wait. That's my thought, and I could be completely wrong. Of the 15 finalists, it's a pass, no pass vote, and if only 5 get the 70% required, then only 5 get in. I think baseball only has 2 this year. Oh, thank you. Animals with Horns, thank you for clicking on. Who are you going for in the Super Bowl? I would not be mad if Hawks won because of Cooper Kupp, but I think the Patriots will win Sunday. Did anyone ever study the Civil War? There was a biographer. Actually, she wrote a diary. Her name was Mary Chestnut, and she was fearful of the war coming, right? And then when they fired the cannons at Sumter, I think she was the one that wrote, or maybe it was Whitman. I think it was Mary Chestnut, said, all the past we leave behind with Sumter, right? It's over. Everything, all of our history together, it's over. We fired. all our past we leave behind, right? I like Cooper Kupp, but I don't like Cooper Kupp enough to root for the Seahawks in this game. I'm thinking 2026. I want them dejected. I want them upset. I want the Patriots to cheat. I want some ambiguous, some weird thing to happen in this game where, I don't know, a 2-point conversion is called and pulled out of the hat at the last minute to jack everything up, and everyone's all upset. That's what I want to have happen in this game. So the Seahawks are thinking about it all off season. They're not thinking about the Rams or the 49ers. They're dwelling on this missed opportunity. Something like Malcolm Butler happening. That's what I want to have happen. I like Sam Darnold, right? But it's like the shooting of Vito Corleone. It's not personal. It's business. I want Sam Darnold to throw 7 picks, and I want them to lose 42-3, and I want them to doubt everything. I want them to go back and look that, dang, if the NFL doesn't help us out with that Sunday night game, that Thursday night game against the Rams, if Xavier Smith doesn't drop the ball, maybe we don't get there, right? I want all these doubts in their head. So, yeah, looking at it, I can't even pick against the Seahawks, but that's what I want to have happen. And I don't really care about Cooper Kupp or Ernest Jones getting another ring. Did I get a little emotional on that one? Thanks, Animals with Horse. If you guys haven't liked or subscribed, just hit like and subscribe, hit share. Be sure to check out my my Squares thing there. I need your help. I would really appreciate that. Follow that link, go to Sports Ball, fill out that thing, man. I want to look good to my sponsors. $5 Steve Joe. If I had a vote to honor past coaches I covered, there are only 1 or 2 who I wouldn't vote for how they treated me. It's human nature. But again, there's maturity involved too, right? You have to divorce yourself from what they did to you and say, this guy was great, right? But I don't know if we've got that level of emotional maturity anymore, right? Jimmy Maldonado, I'm cheering for my numbers. Are those my numbers? Did you take a square on my thing there, Jimmy? I hope so. I think you said go Hawks, but take the numbers. Go to my square. Click on that link. There you go. Animals with horns. I agree. I want to see Diggs have a big game, possibly a miracle catch again. Thank you for understanding my warped sensibilities there, Animals with horns. I do appreciate it. New England is going to blitz Darnold into throwing some interceptions. Yes. Will the real Sam Darnold finally appear, right? I want him seeing ghosts, right? I want it to be freaking Dawn of the Dead for Sam Darnold, right? LaFleur, has LaFleur poached away any of our coaches yet? Interviewed Aubrey Pleasant, I think. And I'm wondering if Pleasant may want to go because he's kind of standing in line for a while. Let's see, $5 Steve. I want Darnold to throw a pick 6 off an umpire. Yeah, there we go. There you go. Jimmy Maldonado comes through in the clutch. Jimmy, guys, in case you don't know Jimmy was our point guard in high school. So everyone treat Jimmy right. Not the Jimmy, he's just Jimmy. Manny Correa, what's up, Pastor Joe? All right. Everyone's saying hi to each other. There we go. Yeah. How was Puka third for Offensive Player of the Year? I don't know. And again, right? I don't know. I hate the award shows. I hate it all. I don't care. I know it might mean something to them personally, but I don't care. I hope it just motivates him to put the hurt on more folks, right? Ron Reese. Hi, Joe. I just got on. Did the Rams just hire Cliff Kingsbury? Yes, they did. I've said it. I think it's a good move. I think he's a mature voice to bring in there. We're not 100% sure he's the OC, but we think he's the OC. But he's somebody that's McVay respects and could probably settle McVay down when he's a little too pass happy, right? I like Kingsbury coming to the room. Brian Smith. I think if any 2 coaches would beat Seattle, it would be Vrabel and McDaniel. That's my hard part, man. You are so right. I am trying and looking for any way. I knew you meant McDaniel, man. I'm looking for any way possible for this to happen, right? I'm searching and I'm searching and I'm searching because I don't think the Seahawks defense is that great, right? Ramondre Stevenson, right? Can the Patriots push that Seattle front the way the Rams push that Seattle front? And you got Byron Young or Byron Byron Murphy. I think it's Byron Murphy out of Texas. You got Leonard Williams. You got guys there, but you push them, hurt them. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I almost, in a whim, said New England 35, Seattle 23, but I just can't be honest about this. I can't. All right, Brian Smith talking Jimmy Jam there. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, do you watch the Olympic opening ceremonies? Never. Not with a gun to my back. I can't stand the Olympics. I can't stand the whole brotherhood of man crud. I think it's all fraudulent. It grosses me out. It does. You know, the world can have the Olympics. I want NFL football. I want the Mets playing baseball. And I'll say this also. I need the Soviet Union for the Olympics, right? I need the evil empire. I need, East German women who have shoulders bigger than mine, right? I need that Cold War competition, right? I need all that stuff, especially as we get up to the anniversary. They're talking about the Miracle on Ice. I need that kind of stuff because otherwise I just don't care. Oh, we beat France. Okay, you beat France, right? You beat France. Who cares, right? I saw the 72 Olympic heist when Hank Iba got jobbed and he mismanaged the end of that game when he should have took his team off the floor, giving the Russians 3 chances before the Belov miracle. I saw that game, and I'm 8 years old, and I hated it. Hated it, right? So, no. I need communists. I need Czech women. I need Bulgarians. I need Telefario Stevenson, the Cuban boxer. I need that kind of stuff, right? There, I said it. I went off a little bit there. But yeah, no, I don't watch the opening ceremonies. Last great Olympic moment, I'll tell you, Rafer Johnson lighting the torch at the Coliseum to open the 84 games. That was cool. Rafer Johnson running up those steps and poof, that was cool. And then John Thompson blew the 88 Olympics in Seoul. We lost to the Russians, right? Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Brian Smith, my buddy, said the Polish Olympic team had the best looking women. Okay, there you go. The Poles, man, those people are tough people, right? Tough people. He rated Czech women second best. Pastor Joe, will I watch the USFL? If I can, I'd rather watch the USFL than the Olympics. But yeah, if I can. I've tried to dive in heavy, and every year I tell myself I'm going to, but I get caught up in RamView, I get caught up in free agency, I get caught up in the draft, and I kind of spit the bit. So let's do this real quick. Here we go. Let's see here.
It was a stone groove, my man.
All right. On this day, February 6, 1973, the Rams hire Ken Meyer and Lehman Bennett as assistant coaches, right? Meyer served 4 years as the Rams OC, 73, 74, 75, 76. That means he had Hadel, he had Harris, he had Jaworski, he had Hayden, right? And then in 77, he became the 49ers head coach for 1 year. Bennett was the Rams receivers coach from 73 through 76. Harold Jackson, Jack Snow, Ron Jesse, right? Okay. Dwight Scales, okay. He went on to become the Atlanta Falcons head coach in 77, and he was there from 77 to 82. He got to the playoffs for the first time. That epic collapse against the Cowboys in 80 is probably still bitter down there. I think they hated that loss worse than they hated Sherman marching through Georgia. But I thought I'd bring it up since poaching coaches is a big thing nowadays. I thought it would be interesting that the Rams had Meyer and Bennett come in on Chuck Knox's staff in 73, and then they left together in 77. They also left when Chuck Knox left, right? No, Chuck Knox coached 1 more year and left after the 77 season. Just wanted to throw that out there. Also, last bit on this date, February 6th, 2020, Eric Weddle retired for good, and Fred Miller was born on this day in 1973. Fred Miller was abused by Javon Curse in the regular season by Tennessee, but then in Super Bowl 34, shut that dude down. God bless Fred Miller. right tackle for the Rams. David Long Jr., last corner the Rams drafted in the top 100. We've been saying that for a month now. I just heard it on another podcast. Rams drafted him 79th overall out of Michigan. He turns 28 today. And tomorrow, Matthew Stafford turns 38. On Sunday, Johnny Hecker turns 36. Still remember him as a kid coming to the Rams, right? And if he was still with us, the great Ken Eyman was born on February 8th, 1939. All right, cool. Let's see. Where am I at here? You can root against Canada in the hockey finals. Okay, that one gets pretty good. I'll admit it. ESG, if the Russians would have never boycotted the 84 Olympics, that would have been the greatest Olympics ever. Yeah, and I go back to the 80 games. Carter had, how do I say this? Carter had nothing, right? He had nothing going on, right? And the only thing he can do in the face of Afghanistan and the Iran hostage crisis was he punished our athletes by not letting them go to Moscow, right? And if they had gone to Moscow, likely the Russians would have come and the Eastern Bloc would have come in 84, right? Okay. Let's see here. Brian Smith agreed, Pastor Joe. I have no problem with the New England cheating if that's what it comes to. Did you just hear what you said? You called me Pastor Joe. You guys do not have to call me Pastor Joe. I understand you're being very respectful. That's really cool. But to hear you say to Pastor Joe, I have no problem cheating, right? Let me take off my Pastor Joe hat, right? Put on my jerk hat. There we go. Let's see. Michael Negretti, Rayford Johnson, Kingsbury, California. Kingsbury sucks. Do you know 5 years ago I was I was found by a recruiter. They wanted me to come pastor the church in Kingsbury. It was a nice package, but I turned it down. So go Rayford Johnson, whose brother was Jimmy Johnson, the first Jimmy Johnson cornerback with the San Francisco 49ers for like 15 years. I don't know. Did Jimmy Johnson make it to the Hall of Fame? Not the head coach, Jimmy Johnson, but the 49er corner? Somebody let me know. Brian Smith, remember the foreign female athletes from the 80s? They were buffed and had Adam's apples from all their steroids. Yeah. Now they box for Algeria. There we go. Gilbert Gonzalez, Jimmy Johnson, quarterback 49ers, also from Kingsbury. Michael, you must be from Selma. Where's that, Selma? Tell me what that is. That another town up there? I know Clovis, Visalia, all those places up there. Michael Negretti, next year's Super Bowl is at SoFi on Valentine's Day. Oh, really? That can cause some issues. That could be really interesting. That's funny. All right, guys. I think we got it in. Have we hit the 50? Oh, we've hit the hour mark. Oh, my gosh. I've been talking for an hour. Hey, guys, I'm going to let you go. Just a reminder, again, hit the squares there for my Super Bowl Spaces thing there on Sports Ball. Help me out with the sponsor. We want this to be successful. We're going to look at that more next year, and we will get going. I might do a show on Monday from my hotel room, but we'll see what that looks like, and we'll go from there. Selma is on the way to Fresno. Okay, then I missed Selma. There we go. Michael Negretti, sounds good. Too late. What's next? Super Bowl in March? Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Oh, Dinuba. Oh, yeah. I knew friends at Dinuba, too. You guys are killing me. All right. Proud Heritage. Thanks, guys. God bless.